Across the Fence, it's our monthly Bird Notes program. We'll talk about getting ready for the winter bird feeding season. Good afternoon and thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. As always, on the fourth Wednesday of the month, I'm joined by Mark LaBarr, conservation biologist for Audubon, Vermont. I can't believe it's that time already.
It is. It is. The weather is getting frightful, as they say, but people are getting prepared for the winter bird feeding season. Many people do feed year-round, but
Absolutely.
This is often a time when people bring their, their feeders out and get things set up. We're doing that today at the office. We tend not to feed during the summer just because there are situations with bears and stuff like that that often preclude doing that. But it is a great time, and bird feeding, as you know, is a great way. It's a great introduction for folks to the world of birds.
Right, and to see Mother Nature.
Yeah, when I teach students, I ask them oftentimes, are they bird watchers? And you don't get too many hands that go up, but then when you ask them, have you ever watched a bird at a feeder? And most of their hands do go up, and you say, well, then you're a bird watcher. So.
There you go.
And as always, Guy's Farm and Yard over on Taft Corner, right there in Williston, has provided us with the opportunity, yes, to borrow some of their feeders to talk about feeding and going over stuff that we talk about pretty much once a year, but it's always good to kind of revisit that. And I think we'll start off with where we usually do. We'll start off with the feeders, and we'll start off with the hopper feeder.
Okay.
And this is, your classic feeder. This one, the roof pops up. It's got a clear plastic on the front, so you can see where the seed is. And then on this one, it also has a place for suet.
So it's like a multi-station.
Yeah, and this one's made out of recycled plastic, so it's kind of a green bird feeder. I should probably
turn around this way so you can see the sticker that's Audubon.
It is. This is one of our Audubon brands, and they're pretty good. Again, these are your classic thing. It has the perch here on the front for the bird to be able to land on, and this one actually has a mesh bottom that allows some of the moisture to go down through the hopper feeder. Yep. So your standard hopper feeder, they come in a multitude of sizes and shapes. The other big feeder that we use that you see around are the tube feeders, and we've got several of them here. This is the classic tube feeder with the perch for the birds, and then the wide opening for them to access the seed.
Yeah, this is like a heavy-duty.
Yeah, so the lid comes up, right. And this one actually has a ring here on the top, and you can pull that up, and it breaks the feeder down, allowing you to clean it a little bit more efficiently.
Oh, that's great, yeah.
And we talk about cleaning, and it's always good when you put your bird feeders out, and over the course of the winter to clean them with a 1 to 4 mix of bleach to water.
Right.
The tube feeders are often easier to clean because you can dip them right in a bucket and pull them back out. And some of these new designs actually have a lot of those, allows you to break down the individual components and put it together. So our classic tube feeder, there's a couple variations on that. This is a Niger mesh feeder, so this is a feeder that holds Niger seed.
Which is very tiny.
Which is really tiny, and so that's why this screen is here, and that's perfect for things like goldfinches and siskins. This one's interesting in that it doesn't really have perches. Oftentimes we see tube feeders and they have just a single slit and the birds to perch on, but birds are still able to grab the side of this and feed and get at it. And again, this one's another one of those easy cleaning ones.
Oh, I like that.
Where the bottom comes off and you can get at the inside and put the put the feeder back together and make sure that that's clean. Another feeder in the style of the tube feeders. This is a peanut feeder or a black oil sunflower seed feeder, so you could use both rather. You can see the mesh is quite a bit larger than that Niger seed feeder, and if you put peanuts in here, it's great for attracting woodpeckers and nuthatches and things like that. So just an alternative feeder for folks to use. And then as we go down, of course, there's a number of different feeders. These are all designed for seed, except for that one hopper that had the suet. As is this one, and this is one of those feeders that is a clear feeder. It has suction cups on the back so that you can put this on your window, and you can get an up-close look at the birds as they feed.
Great if you're in an apartment or something like
yeah,
that.
it is. And sometimes you can even buy versions that have a back on them that allows you to see the birds, but the birds not to see you. Right. So just another little option. I bring this one every year. I really like this one. This is another type of suet feeder. This one, you actually put the suet in, and you can see the grill, and because it's upside down, it's difficult
like
for starlings and some of the other larger birds to get at that suet.
And blue jays maybe?
And blue jays, they just can't grip that underside, whereas your woodpeckers and your nuthatches are still able to access that.
And also there's a nice roof on it, which protects it from the weather.
From the weather, and it just keeps it a little bit tidier. In the same vein, as far as a suet feeder, this is one, as you can see, it's got that same mesh design.
I like that.
Only this one has, it's extended. And again, this allows birds to be able to, especially your woodpeckers, which have that stiff tail, and they use that to cling onto the side of trees.
I didn't know that.
It allows them to use that and access that suet just as easy. So there's a couple of ones like this out on the market. They have these lines here for the birds to actually get a grip on that wood. And so this is a great suet feeder option.
Okay.
And then one last thing, which is interesting. This is one. You
don't have to spend a lot of money to feed the birds.
Yes, you don't. So this one is just one that you screw onto a bottle of a 2-liter Coke thing, or Pepsi, or any kind of soda, and then you can fill that up and you can hang that upside down, and there's 2 perches for the birds to access the seed. And of course, as we talk about feeders, we talk about squirrels. We bring them up.
Yes, we do.
I have a couple, one big feeder here. And this is kind of a nice one because it does have a large hopper. It is huge, so you don't have to worry about filling it all that much. And this one has the perches that flop down.
So that if it's anything heavier than a little bird, like say a squirrel,
or
it closes it.
Yeah, or even to some extent jays. So this would be something that you could focus on the smaller birds, and the bigger birds would have a tougher time doing it. Now, squirrels are squirrels.
So they'll figure it out.
It's funny because this says it repels squirrels, or they're squirrel resistant. But oftentimes it's really tough for folks to say they're squirrel proof.
Right. I don't think there is a thing.
As we know, they are acrobats when it comes to getting and accessing food. Another new product that has just come out, which is kind of an old product for those of us that remember, the Slinky.
I was going to say new product.
Yes, this is designed to actually hang on the support pole for the bird feeder.
Okay.
And as the squirrels try to climb up the pole, they'll climb on this, it'll move, and they'll be frightened, and they will drop down onto the ground.
Ideally.
Ideally. I'm not exactly sure how well this one works, but it's an interesting, innovation.
Why not give it a whirl?
Yeah, see what happens. And of course, what we have here at the end is this is Cole's Flaming Squirrel Sauce.
And I'm going to hold it because I want to see if we can get a nice close-up of the label, because it's priceless as to what it does to the squirrel. It's just basically hot sauce, right?
It is hot sauce with soybean oil, right?
Okay.
And that, you can see that squirrel is just lit right up. It's liquid form that you mix in with the seed.
I would imagine be careful to wash your hands afterwards.
That's true, because this one actually is a habanero-based hot sauce. Ooh. So it could,
that could be dangerous.
Be very hot.
Yes.
Because since they up on the Scoville units. And supposedly the birds are not fazed by that.
Oh, okay.
I have yet to talk to too many people that have used the various different seed things, but you do want to watch. You're putting your hands into those, buckets of seeds and then filling your feeders. It's very easy for you to get that on your hands and get it in your eyes and things like that. So
be careful.
You want to be careful. And then what I'd like to do is, of course, talk about some of the food that's out there.
Right.
And if you'll hand me that cup right there.
This one or this?
Yes, that one there. The one food that we use almost solely is the black oil sunflower seed. folks know this and know the striped sunflower seeds. Those are two of the more popular seeds that you would find.
I find there's less waste when you just use that one ingredient.
Exactly. What happens a lot with some of the other ingredients that use millet and things like that, the birds will actually push that out of the way in order to get at the black oil or the striped sunflower seed.
And this is a good time of year too, because a lot of places have this on sale right now.
They do, they do. And so it's good to stock up. People that feed birds, you know, really go through a lot of this over the course of the winter. So if you can find it on sale, that's what you want to do.
You have some more?
And then we do. And this is just a contrast. This is the Niger seed. And this is the seed that we use for, again, siskins and goldfinches. It's not a thistle, but it's very similar to that, which is a food that, you know, goldfinches will feed on during the late summer months.
I like just buying the one ingredient as opposed to they have some that's mixed with other seeds, and that just gets kicked away.
And it's kind of interesting because I had shown that mesh feeder. I'm wondering how much stuff actually falls out of that mesh. You know, normally you get that single hole and opening for the birds to feed at. So another good one to have there. The more variety that you actually have at your feeder station, obviously the more birds you're going to have there as well.
So you want some suet. So
suet is a good one. Pretty inexpensive, and it sometimes has corn in it. It sometimes has black oil sunflower seeds. It sometimes have fruit in it to attract, for instance, bluebirds. So it's a great thing, and as we showed, there's a number of different ways that you can have it out there for the birds to eat. If you'll hand me that yellow bag, this is kind of a...
I've never seen this before.
Yeah, this is a modification on that, and this is suet, but it's kind of like in little balls.
Little pellets.
And it's designed for bluebirds, but I'm sure other birds would also eat it. If you read the instructions, they say to put it out somewhere to get the bluebirds coming in, and then you actually put it in the feeder once you get the bluebirds on a regular basis.
So you kind of train them to come to your house.
Right. And this would be another food to use in one of those tube feeders that had the larger openings.
Right.
Because they could peck at that. If you didn't, you know, you could also use it on a platform feeder as well.
Okay.
And then this is an interesting thing, tree icing. It comes with its own spoon.
Nice. And
it's basically peanut butter and suet that you smear on any rough surface that allows, you know, the birds to access that.
It'd be a lot of fun for kids.
It would be. It would be. My guess is it's probably a little bit messy.
Yeah.
You know, and
no doubt.
But they do have feeders that you can spread right on that. And it fills in the little holes, and again, great for woodpeckers and nuthatches and things of that sort.
Okay.
And then you can hand over, and this is the, you know, your normal bird mix. And as we talked about, many mixes have a variety of different seeds in them. We just do black oil sunflower seed, but there are birds that will eat the corn and the millet and the safflower seeds.
Especially when it's on the ground.
Right. So things like doves and jays, but you also find that some of the cheaper mixes have fewer black oil sunflower seeds and a lot of that millet. So again, at your feeder, if you're seeing a lot of this going on the ground and becoming waste, you might want to shift to a you know, straight up black oil sunflower seed
Well, that's
mix.
what I did after, you know, I complained about the blue jays coming and just kind of shoveling everything out until they could get to the black oil sunflower seeds.
Right.
So I just went to black oil sunflower seeds, and I'm not bothered that much by the jays.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They have to eat too.
They do. And then this last mix, and again, this is another variety.
So it's good, it looks like trail mix.
It does look like trail mix, and this is something that, as you can see, it's designed for woodpeckers. Lots of, you know, peanuts and different kinds of seeds, larger seeds in there that are favorites for those birds. So again, that larger tube, you know, the tube feeder with that larger mesh would be a great one for this. So again, different types of feeders for different birds, different foods for different birds, and you're going to have a feeder station that's, you know, hopefully very active and hopefully, you know, very diverse.
Do you recommend that if you're starting out with sunflower seeds, you always keep the sunflower seeds, or can you switch it up during the winter? Is that a dangerous thing to do for birds?
No, you know, I think the birds are used to, you know, people often ask, they say, you know, what if I stop feeding in the middle of the winter?
Right.
Is that going to be a problem? Birds know, they use feeder stations as a food source. If you're in a suburban area, they often have access to lots of different, even a rural area, different feed sources. And they also have access to what's already out there that Mom Nature is providing them. So you can mix it up if you need to get some stuff. You can also, you know, go away on vacation and they'll be perfectly fine. Yes.
All right. Well, thanks so much for bringing all this in. And again, thanks to Guys.
Yep.
We're out of time, so if you have a bird-related question, you can pass it along to Mark. Or if you'd like more information about the bird feeding workshop, you can contact the staff at Audubon at 434-3068 or write to him at 255 Sherman Hollow Road, Huntington, Vermont 05462. Or you can always email Mark. His email address is mlabarr@audubon.org. Thanks for joining us. I'm Judy Simpson. We'll see you again next time on Across the Fence.